स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So today we are going to start the 9th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. So the 9th chapter is termed as the Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga. So the way to the kingly knowledge and the kingly secret. So it is some secret knowledge. So it's not in a sense secret, and that's the way we understand. So as we proceed, that what that guhya, the secret, means, that we will be trying to understand at the very beginning of the very chapter. The slokas deal with that, the idea of this Raja Guhya. So now this 9th chapter, its name is this Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga. So what's the theme, main theme of the chapter? As we proceed, we will find in the very first verse, the second line, the word will come, a term will come. Jnana Vijnana Sahitam. That it is not a mere conceptual knowledge. Jnanam. There are two types of knowledge. One is conceptual knowledge and another is experiential knowledge. That unless a conceptual knowledge gets ripened, gets matured into experiential knowledge, that knowledge as such has no utility in our life. That all the knowledge has to go to the level of experience. And then only it is science. The science is that the knowledge which leads to experience. So here this Jnana Vijnana Sahitam, that what it means? That this chapter is going to deal with a knowledge which has to be associated along with Vijnana, along with realization. The knowledge should lead to realization. So it's chapter which deals with the knowledge which will be leading you to the direct realization. So the first 3 verses will be providing an eloquent introduction to this chapter. So we will enter into these first 3 verses, that what it speaks of as an introduction to this chapter. So very first verse, the 9.1. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Tute Guhyatamam Pravakshamyam Anasuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajgyatva Mokshase Ashubhat. So this, the Supreme Lord, Sri Bhagavan, so Krishna, the Supreme Lord, was incarnated for the well-being of the humanity. So this Sri Krishna, so he is addressing Arjuna. What is saying? Idam tute guhyatamam pravakshyamyam pravakshyami anasuyave. This word anasuyave is very important. The one who doesn't have any sense of enmity towards me, who doesn't disrespect me, who is not indifferent towards me. What I say, he tries to relate to it through faith. So that's the meaning of the word anasuya. Anasuya. So he is not envious towards me, not indifferent towards me, he is not disrespectful towards me. So Arjuna is totally dedicated to Krishna. So as he is anasuya, he has no such disrespect towards Krishna. He has a sense of resignation towards Krishna. So that's why Krishna is feeling that this is the knowledge which I can impart to him. So this is the secret knowledge which I can impart to him. So what actually the idea of secrecy is? So I was reading a book called, that's long back, many of you have read most probably, it's Ikigai. Ikigai, you have read most probably. It's a Japanese way of living, and you will find the book, after the heading is written, the next line, the secret for longevity and fulfillment. So is it a secret? No. That Ikigai, what the secret means? That yes, there is a way of life, a particular, this Okinawa, a particular village, a small town in Japan, where these people live a particular way of life. So why it is a secret? Because most of us were not at all interested to know about the way of life. It's not that those people have kept it as a secret. It's only those who are curious about it, those who have interest about it. So for them, if they go and just they try to find out the way of life, that's what the author has done for that book. That it is an open page for all. But unless I have interest, I have a faith that these people are living for long, quite long, a very qualitatively good life. Not only a long life, it's not the quantity, it's also the quality, very qualitatively good life they are leading. So that created an interest, an inquisitiveness. They went and they tried to find out, and then whatever they find out, they have found out, that's what is written in that book. So what the secret means? That unless I am interested, of course it is a secret for me. So here also the sense is that why is Guhyatamam? That most of the people have no faith in it. That even in the gospel we find that someone says, what's the proof there is God? And Sri Ramakrishna is also there. And then some other person, not Sri Ramakrishna himself, he gives a very nice reply. That even if God just now incarnates and comes and just say you that I am God, will you believe him? You will say he's just an imposter. He's just doing something. He's a blasphemous person. He's claiming himself to be God. So are we going to believe him? So that's the very important question. That unless we have certain type of faith, as Swami Vivekananda used to say a very interesting thing, that superstition is there everywhere. He says even in science there is superstition. What's the superstition? That if we say that such and such sage has said such and such thing, the saint has said such and such thing, the rishis have said such and such thing, immediately we react to it with some disbelief. But if someone says Einstein has said something, and Swami said we will just simply swallow it even without a pinch of salt. No, nothing is required. Simply will swallow it. So Einstein has said it. Newton has said it. Darwin has said it. Immediately, that there also we are supposed to be in the same way skeptic. But we'll find that we have a superstition, a scientific superstition. Oh, such and such person have said, it must be true. So is this superstition bad? It is not a superstition. Just we are saying that the way we say religious superstition, in that sense we can say it's superstition, but it is actually not superstition. It's a faith. Faith is something different. Even in our education system, what we find, that when you are going to a school in the primary level, most of the scientific truths, I don't have sufficient knowledge to deduce it to really understand that it is something verifiable. The scientific truths are all verified, but I don't have sufficient knowledge to understand that it is something which is verifiable, where I can verify it. At the beginning, I have to have faith. The teacher says, my parent says, everyone says this is the truth. Okay, I humbly accept the fact that I myself don't have sufficient knowledge, sufficient intelligence at present to understand it as truth. I take it as a working principle. I proceed in my studies. As I go to the higher level of my education, gradually I develop sufficient understanding now to understand the deductions, the way it can be verified. So at the beginning, for all knowledge, we have to start with faith. If that faith itself is not there, there cannot be any knowledge. And that way that knowledge becomes a secret. So that's the thing which is being spoken of here. That what he's saying, idang tu te guhyatamam. This is secret for others. Those who have no faith in me. What I'm going to say, they have no faith on that. But you are anasuya. You have a sense of respect towards me. You have an attitude of faith towards me. So now I can speak it out to you. Otherwise, speaking of this truth is something waste of energy, waste of time. So that's why it's not that I cannot divulge it to everyone, that it is a secret, only to a chosen few I will divulge. No. I am ready to divulge to all. The Lord's love is is something which has, this compassion is unconditional. It's not that for a specific few it is there. But most of us are not ready to accept it. So that's why this anasuya word is very important here. So this secret knowledge I am saying you, what is that knowledge? Jnanam vijnana sahitam. This knowledge will immediately give you some experience. That this idea of immediacy, we will come to the next verse. So this knowledge is not that I have to wait for ages, or it is some post-mortem experience, where we find in all the religions the idea is you lead a good life. Why? After death you go to heaven. So here the Lord is assuring that is vijnana sahitam. Just in the way you go to the laboratory, you conduct an experiment, you get the result in hand. So here also you can get the result just in hand. As Bhagavad Pada Shankaracharya says very nice, Karatala amalakavat, that there is a fruit in your hand. The way you can see it, you can feel it. This knowledge is as palpable as a fruit in your hand. Karatala amalakavat. So vijnana sahitam yaj gyatva, and this science is something very unique, that it doesn't only give you some knowledge, it brings a transformation within. It is something internalization. And as a result of the transformation, what happened? Moksha se ashubhat. You develop that resilience to transcend all the evils of life. Moksha se ashubha. Ashubha means the limitations, the evils of life. Moksha se. You can liberate, you can be emancipated from that. You get liberated from that. So this speaks of an emancipation which can be realized here and now. That's the very interesting thing about the Gita and about the Upanishads, that you did not have to wait for to die. You did not have to die to realize something. Here, now itself, you can have just like a cash down payment immediately. If you have an attitudinal correction, if you change your paradigm, the way you are looking at the life, immediately you can experience the result of what knowledge I am going to impart here and now. So this is the idea which we find Bhagavad Pada, this Bhagavan Sri Krishna, is trying to impart to Arjuna. So as we say, this word anasuya is very, very important. So without that, we can never have this type of knowledge. Without that faith, that everywhere, this faith is very important. When I go to the doctor, the same faith. What in our scriptures, the faith has been defined as what? That faith means faith in the word of your teacher and in the scriptures. What it is like? It's just like having faith in the doctor. When I go to the doctor, he prescribes, he diagnoses, he does some diagnosis and prescribes me certain medicine. I know nothing of the medical science, but I have faith that the medical science is a well-researched science, and this person has studied it. He is an authority to that deal with that subject and accordingly prescribe, diagnose and prescribe. So he's an authority for that science. The science is authentic, this person is authentic. With that simple faith I'm going. Whatever he prescribes, I take that and I get cured. So here lies the question of faith. So here it's the same thing. The scriptures, the saints, the sages, the incarnations of God, they're the authority. The scripture is like that science, and they are the one who has the authority. So they are going to divulge some knowledge to me. If I have faith, then only it can help me to transform my life with the help of that knowledge, to experience the truth palpably in my life, and that has a transforming effect which helps me to develop that resilience to transcend all the evils of life. So with this, let us go to the second verse. The second verse will be glorifying the knowledge that will be expounded in the 9th chapter. So what he's saying, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pravakshyavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. So each and every word is significant. So we will take up one by one each and every word to try to understand what actually Bhagavan is indicating. Raja Vidya, that it is the king of all sciences. Raja Vidya. Raja Guhyam is the king, this profound of all secrets. Pavitram idam uttamam. It is extremely purifying. Pavitram idam uttamam. Pratyakshavagaman. Pratyaksha avagamam. It is something which can be verifiable through your life here and now. Dharmyam, at the same time, it will help you to maintain the integrity of life, integrity of the society, integrity of your family. It is not something, an esoteric knowledge where you just to get some kick, just the way people resort to drug to get some kicks. So many people resort to spirituality with that idea. It will give some sort of experience, ecstatic experience, and that I consider that gives me a sense of holier than thou attitude. Oh, I have attained something which don't others have. And I sometimes resort to a way of life which speaks of adhering to certain cult. I go there and start living a life in such a way that I don't take care of my responsibilities. I think I have become very holy. I just forsake all my responsibilities and I go and just try to get all those ecstasies at the cost of the dharma. Dharma always speaks of punya. What is dharma? That wherever I am, what is dharma? Ethical way of living. Ethical way of living is wherever I am giving the collective welfare the upper hand than my own individual welfare. It's just like going through the traffic. When you're going through the traffic, that's what we do. We give more importance to the collective welfare than my own welfare. When I see the signal, what I'm doing, that yes, I am in a hurry. I have to go to my destination as early as possible. That's my own personal desire. But what's more important, the collective. Everyone has the same desire. They also want to go to the destination in the correct place, as early as possible. So this traffic system is made for the collective welfare. Okay, sometimes you get the green signal. At other times, others ought to also get the green signal. And I follow that I don't simply overrule the collective welfare just for my own welfare. And you will find the entire ethics is based on that, nothing else. So here also they are saying that I am speaking to you a religion, a way of life, which is going to give you fulfillment. But that fulfillment is not at the cost of dharma. That you get some ecstasy for which you simply trample over the welfare of the society. No, it is going to adhere to the dharma. And then susukham, it's not something which is very difficult to practice. It actually speaks of change of your orientation. It doesn't need some special practices to attain something. You change your orientation, immediately the result is palpable in your day-to-day life. That's why susukham, it's very easily attainable. And it's kartum avyayam. Avyayam means, and once you attain it, it's not that its result is something temporary. Just I get it and then it's gone. Once you change your orientation, the way of life, you internalize certain values, and you will find its effect is everlasting. It gives you the fulfillment. After which you become kritakritya. You feel that I have to do nothing else. I have attained the thing which has to be attained in this life. So that's why it is called avyayam. So now let us take up these words one by one. Raja Vidya. Why it is the king of all sciences. So Raja Vidya. So we know what is Vidya? That any knowledge which leads to realization. Jnana leading to Vijnana. Jnana means knowledge. Vijnana is experience. So any knowledge leading to realization, experience is Vidya, is Jnana, is science. But here they are saying this is the king of science. Why? So here it's not denying that physics, chemistry, your astronomy, these are all sciences. They are not denying them that they are not science. They are all science. But this is the king of science. Why? Why is the king of science? Because all the science deals with this worldly plane of existence. This actually opens up the portal to another plane of existence of which we are not at all aware. And what's the utility of opening up that portal? By opening up that portal, you will find that so many unresolved questions in life you have. You don't have any answer to them. The moment that portal was open to you, immediately you find the answers. You start finding the answers. That this this example which we always give, that suppose the teacher in the classroom asks you to draw exactly 4 triangles by joining 4 points. You will find it is impossible. You try your best, you can find it's impossible to draw exactly 4 triangles by joining 4 points. When you try, you will find that however you may place the points, somewhere the lines will be intersecting to create the 5th point. And not only that, 2 or 3 triangles will combine to create another triangle. So there will be more than 4 triangles, there will be more than 4 points. You can never get the answer. So what's the answer? You have to draw only 3 points in the paper, join them, you get a triangle. The 4th point you have to imagine in the space, not in the paper, in the space. Now join this point in the space with all the other points in the paper. You will get a triangular pyramid with exactly 4 triangular faces. So why I was not getting the answer? Because I was trying to get the answer only in the 2 dimension of the page. I never took the 3rd dimension, the space, into consideration. All the sciences takes the credential of the senses to be true. What the senses are showing, that is true, that is the reality. And that constitutes our plane of existence. And all the science is dealing with that. Taking the credentials of the senses to be true, I now start searching for the answers, and it all deals with this phenomenal plane of existence. But in Vedanta, they questioned a very important thing at the very beginning, that can I take the credentials of the senses to be true? What the senses are showing me, is it always correct? Even 1,000 years back, we find Shankaracharya is giving this nice example when he starts his commentary on this Brahma Sutra. Very nice. Let's say we see as if the sky is meeting the horizon. That's what our senses are showing. Does really the sky meet the horizon? See, 1,000 years back, so this type of inquisitiveness was there. We see the sky as blue. Is the sky really blue? So this questioning the credentials of the senses. What the senses are showing, are they true? So if I start questioning the credentials of the senses, then what happens? Then the question comes that there must be a truth behind this thing which I am seeing. That there are so many things which are not within the range of our perceptions, and as I cannot perceive them, that doesn't mean they doesn't exist. I can at the most say I don't know, but I cannot simply deny that. So here, when we speak of the spiritual dimension, yes, that's something which is not within the scope of our senses. It's beyond our senses. So the credentiality of the senses, if we take that alone to be truth, immediately that's what the science says. Oh, this is not something which we can see, which we can hear, so this is not in our consideration. So, unless we take them into consideration, as here we were not finding the answer, joining the 4 points, joining to make exactly 4 triangles. Similarly, we don't get answers to the so many questions of life. It's impossible to get. With all our psychology, you may go for counseling for sessions after session. Still you will find it was just a patchwork. It has as such not solved any of your problem. In a service economy, at last you have done, you have helped someone else to sustain. That's the psychologist has sustained himself. He has got his, as our Bhuteshanandaji used to say, very interesting thing, that he was our 12th president. He was a very jovial person. The doctors gave him some medicine, but as you know, sometimes he was not very regular in taking medicines. So now the doctor came and just was saying that why you are not taking medicine regularly. So what he said was, he just was joking with the doctor. He said that, see, when doctors prescribe the medicine, you should go and purchase the medicine. Why? Well, otherwise, how the pharmaceuticals will survive? They cannot survive if you don't buy the medicine. First, he said, no, when you are sick, you have to go to the doctor. Well, why? No, otherwise, how will the doctor survive? You have to go to the doctor. And what he prescribes, that you have to buy. You have to buy those medicines. Why? Otherwise, how the pharmaceuticals will survive? And what he prescribes, you shouldn't take. Because you also have to survive. So all has to survive. The doctor has to survive. So he used to make a joke, fun that way. So you go to the doctor because doctor has to survive. The medicines you have to buy because the pharmaceuticals has to survive. And you shouldn't take because you also have to survive. So it's just a joke. We just came out of the... So what's the idea? That we will find that with all this, the so-called help, which deals with only the secular way of life. Oh, I don't believe in God. It is something visible? No, it's not visible. So keep that apart. Keeping that apart, now instruct me what you have to instruct. Yes, that way there are so many sciences, psychology. And is it really helping? At last we will find with all these advancement, even in modern psychology, with this positive psychology, they are saying that we don't know the religious truth. We know nothing about the religious truth. But one thing is verifiable. What is verifiable? That those who have faith, many are there who have no faith in the present world. But those who have faith, it's a verifiable fact. Your studies will show that the people, those who have faith, the believers, cope up with the challenges of life in a much better way than those who have no faith. It's a verifiable fact. It's a verifiable fact. So, that what makes them to really cope up with the challenges of life much better, well equipped? So that's the question. That's the question here, which answers the this term, the meaning of the term Raja Vidya, that it is a kingly knowledge, the knowledge which doesn't only equip you with the so-called the sciences which has to deal with your day-to-day life. It equips you to cope up with the challenges of life much better by changing your paradigm, by having some internal transformation. I still remember when I was in India, an astrophysicist, very famous, he came to our school for a total one day, a seminar was there for the students. It was a wonderful deliberation that how these stars are formed, galaxies are formed, and he being from a scientific temperament, he had a wonderful this skill of exposition. The students were enthralled, and throughout the day he was there with us. And as it was quite late at night, he stayed overnight. We arranged some his accommodation in our guest house, and next day after the morning breakfast, he was supposed to leave. So we were having breakfast together, and now as he's from the scientific background and seeing us wearing this religious dress and all, he came and said, what is religion? So I was quiet. Then he said, isn't it religion means something which holds you? Even it's very interesting. In Sanskrit, dharma means dharayat iti dharma. That which holds you, which integrates you, is dharma. Even in English, the word religion also has almost same meaning, religare. If you just go to the etymological meaning, it means that which sustains you, holds you. So he said that if that is religion means that which sustains you, that which holds you, then science is the religion. Science is the religion. Well, from the morning till night, in the present day, whatever you are doing is the product of science. In the morning you wake up, you use your toothbrush, toothpaste, that's the product of science. Anything you're doing, you're washing your clothes using the washing machine, therefore you're using the dishwasher, the way your kitchen is arranged, the oven, everything. You'll find the quality of life which you are having. You open the tap, immediately you get water. Just see the way our life has changed, and it is the science which is speaking of the quality of our life. So science is your religion. And then suddenly I remembered Swami Vivekananda's very nice sentence. I told, what you say, in a way it's correct. But I will say very interesting. Swamiji is saying that we give so much importance to the physical amenities of life, but that just constitute 1% of our life. Most of that life we are spending is in our mind. Just think, with all the amenities, how much time actually it has made our life more miserable. Previously, at least to sustain ourselves, to just have a basic quality of life, so much time we had to spend. We have to wash our own clothes. Everything was by your hand. It used to take a lot of time. And now you have a lot of spare time. Everything is done quickly. Everything is done. The science has helped you. Now you're sitting alone idly with your mind. Nice. So that's what Swamiji is saying. 1%, that all the things you're giving so much importance, that constitute only 1% of your life. 99% of your life is with your mind. And there science has no hold on you. Once you're free sitting with your mind and it has its own way to create its own chaos, what can your science do with that? And that's why he is saying it's Raja Vidya, that 99% it deals with that. It is such a knowledge which will deal with that 99% of your life. With all your scientific advancement, they are just giving you 1%. As Swami Vivekananda used to say, a very nice thing, that when in the time of Swamiji, that the idea of socialism was already developing. And there we find that the special sentence, that the sentence of Karl Marx, that religion is the opium of the masses. And naturally Swami Vivekananda was also very much aware of all those ideas. So someone came and asked, what's your opinion about socialism? What Swamiji's reply was wonderful. He told, I am a socialist. I am a socialist. And then the next portion of the sentence is very important. Because half a loaf is better than no loaf at all. That's very important. Half a loaf is better than no loaf at all. If you are hungry, then someone comes and just give you half a loaf. At least you don't die of starvation. But at the same time, you are not satiated. You need more. So he's saying that with all your, this idea of advancement, material advancement, and with the socialism, you bring some equality in the society, no exploitation. Whatever material advancement I have, that is equally distributed to all. So he's saying it is good because it is just half a loaf. After that, as a human being, I simply cannot stay satisfied with all those material things which I have. As a human being, I am bound to ask the meaning of life. What's the purpose of life? These questions are bound to come. I cannot stifle it. It will come. That's why we find in the present humanity, what's there with all our advancement, we start as an optimist. But as we grow older, we become more and more pessimist. Why? Because all our goals have been achieved by the middle of our life. And now that big question mark comes in our life. What to do with life? That I had an idea that I should be educated, I should get a good job, I should have a nice family, has a good life. In the middle of my life, by age 40, I have attained all those things. And now that big question starts, that after that, what's life for? And then that pessimism, without finding no purpose of life, that pessimism starts coming. So we find with all these sciences, that is the limitation. It is dealing only with this world. It in no way can help you to deal with your mind, what to speak of the spirit. So here he is saying it is a science. What I am going to say is a science. Once you believe it and start living your life as per it, you will get the results immediately. It's verifiable. So that's why first has to have that faith, anasuya, that which was spoken of in the last verse. And then only you will realize that it is the king of sciences. It is a king of sciences because it helps you to deal with the so-called evils of the limitations of life. What is the limitation? The biggest limitation in psychology I've heard, even in this last decade, this existentialism was one of the main theme of the philosophy, that our existence itself entails in suffering. That the basic theme of that existentialism, that suffering is the very core of existence. So this Raja Vidya, it deals with that you find a meaning beyond your existence, you find joy out of living, and you get a fulfillment out of that. So that's why it is the king of sciences. And then Raja Guhya, as we have already dealt, that it is not something secret, the way we think of secret as dealt with in some secret societies. No, it's an open truth. But unless you have faith in it, unless you have that yearning to really know about it, to adopt it as your life, it remains a secret for you. So that's why it is called Guhya. So in a sense, all the universities are secret societies. What's going on there, the general public doesn't know. It's only those who have developed certain qualifications and have that, interest of knowledge. I have some interest and I have the qualifications. Then only I can go there. Otherwise, for others, it becomes a secret society. So in the same way, the religion also becomes a secret in the sense most of us are not interested. If we are not interested, then it remains a secret. As very nicely Tulsidas says, that why the religious knowledge is secret, very simple example he gives. Very simple. These simple words are very important. He says, you go to the village, you'll find a very interesting thing. The one who sells alcohol, is the liquor, he sits in one place. He is sitting in his own home The entire village comes there. So this alcohol is after all not good for health, but people get intoxicated, they like it. He sits in one place, people come to him. The entire people, and the milkmaid, the one who sells the milk, that poor fellow has to go from door to door. The thing which nourishes you, for that you have to go from door to door to sell it. So now you will understand that why this knowledge is a secret. Because no one has that interest. So that's why it is Raja Guhya, that it is something which is just available to you. Just the way you can you avail to oxygen, it's not, you don't have to buy oxygen. It is taken for granted, it is there. Water, we take it for granted, we don't have to buy. But similarly, this knowledge is not something, nowadays of course religion also has got commercialized. There are so many packages. But Bhagavan is saying, no. It's a very, very plain, simple knowledge. You need not have to go through all those packages of secret societies. It's very easy knowledge. But you have no interest. Sometimes people, that Ranganathanji gives a very nice example. If you go to the Indian villages, we especially in our Ramakrishna mission, we have these mobile dispensaries. Because in the interior village, sometimes medical facilities are not available. So we have our mobile vans, we go with the doctors, medicines. And now, when the doctor prescribes some medicine tablet and even gives a tablet, he is not satisfied. These simple villagers, they will come and say, won't you give me some injection? Unless some injection is given, so there is no cure. So we also take the religion in the same sense. There must be some complex, some procedure. So if it is something easily available, it cannot be the solution. So for religion also it happens. Bhagavan is saying here that the spiritual truth which I am speaking of is just a change of orientation. You live your day-to-day life. You need not have to renounce your way of life, that what you are doing. Continue with your way of life. Whatever you are doing, your responsibilities, you continue. But this change of paradigm is going to bring some overhauling effect in your personality. But we don't believe in it. So that's why it is Raja Guhya. We don't have that faith, this, that guilelessness. Sri Ramakrishna used to say a wonderful thing, that to be guileless is something unique, is something specific, is very, very important thing. We think that it is, that to be guileless, it's easy. No, it's not easy. Sri Ramakrishna is saying that one who has done austerity for many births, he can be guileless. Just to have that simple faith, to believe in the words of the Guru of the scriptures. That simplicity is something not so easily something attainable. The one who have that, know it for certain, he must have gone through some meritorious acts previously. Then only he can be a guileless person, to have Shraddha, to have faith. So, after saying that, he is saying Uttamam Pavitram. It's something which makes you pure. So this is something very important. Why it is very important? All our academic knowledge, they are also sciences. But there, the knowledge has nothing to do with my personal life. As I myself remember, in my college, there was a physics professor, excellent professor. But his habit was he used to get a bit drunk. He was always intoxicated. So even when he used to come to the class, you could find that he is still a bit intoxicated, but what he was teaching is wonderful. I still remember that one day it was announced in the classroom in which we were supposed to have the class. There was an announcement that you have to vacate that class. You have to shift to the next classroom. And we were sitting in the next classroom, and that professor entered, and it was the first period, and he was supposed to take that roll call. The roll call. And he entered the class, it was totally vacant. He just opened the register and started taking the roll call, not a single student, because he was fully intoxicated. Then one of our students had to go and just bring him, sir, not here, it's here. And then he took that class, wonderful class. So what we are speaking, that it has nothing to do with our personal life. You may have great knowledge. But here, this knowledge is going to transform, is to purify you. It has to change, it is to bring an eternal change. A transformation should come. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, when he was as an ordinary person, as a priest, he came to Dakshineshwar, and with his, that tremendous minute power of observation, he was seeing the people of Calcutta, well educated. And he used to say, after all, what your education has done to you, it has made you vultures. That's what he used to say. Why vulture? Because the vultures soar high up in the sky. They are soaring high up in the sky. But their entire attention is on some carrion, in some rotten flesh, in some dungeon in the ground. So they are soaring very high, but their total focus is where I get the rotten flesh in the ground. So he's saying, with all your education, after all, it's just a bread-earning education. It has nothing to do with your transformation. In the words of Ramakrishna, Chal Kola Bada Biddha. Very, very nicely to say that I still remember in Calcutta University, sometimes I say that in the Calcutta University, it was written, it's the center of Calcutta University, center of learning. And because of the weather condition, too much of rain and all, somehow the L got eroded. So what it becomes? The center of earning. So all your education at last ends up there. It has nothing to do with your inner transformation. So here, this is the knowledge which is going to bring an inner transformation. How? Just by changing the orientation. In the Vaishnava Shastra, very nicely that example is given. They say this coal and diamond, both are made of carbon, nothing else. What makes the difference? Just the orientation of the carbon atoms, nothing else. So the orientation is a big thing. So it can transform the coal into diamond. So spiritual life does that. By changing your orientation, the coal becomes diamond, something precious. So that internal change, internalization, speaks of the purification. But it is being spoken of that it is the king of all purification, Uttamam. Why? Because we know that in our day-to-day life, anywhere, in all the religions you will find, what is the basic thing of purification? Some simple act. In Christianity we find I go and confess, and that is thought to be very purifying. Even in our Hinduism we find we do some purificatory rites. We go and take a dip in the Ganges and do some ceremonial purifications. They're all good. It has a profound effect on our psychology. It makes us feel that, oh, all the burdens I have left. But there is a limitation there. What's the limitation? Does it really help me to get rid of the tendency to do these mistakes again? You find no. That when I have done something wrong, I have, through all those purifications, I somehow feel light, but I will find still that tendency is there. Again, I have the tendency to do that. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, that all the purificatory acts are like that there are so many ghosts within us. They are sitting on our shoulders always. Now they say that when you take a dip in the Ganges, you get purified. Sri Ramakrishna jokingly used to say that a person with all those ghosts sitting on his shoulders, the moment he's going to get down on the Ganges, all these ghosts jump and sit on the branch of a tree by the side of the Ganges. They're just sitting there. The moment you come up, they again come on and sit on your shoulders. So that's what happens with all of us. So they never change. As there is no change of orientation, we are prone to do the same mistakes again and again. Why it is been said that it is a Uttamam Pavitram? Because once you adopt to this way of life, you will find that your tendency to do again this, go to this wrong path has been totally eradicated. There is a spontaneous renunciation. You don't have the tendency. As long as you have the tendency, you have to use your willpower. Oh, I have a tendency to do that, I again have to use my willpower. But in spiritual life, with this transformation, a time comes, all the things which used to lure me is still there. But it cannot lure me anymore. A natural detachment has developed because of my love for something else. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, that you can never push the West. If you have to get rid of the West, you cannot push the West. The more you go towards the East, the West automatically falls behind. So with this change of orientation, the more you go towards God, the more the world starts falling off. Naturally. You don't have to force it. So that's why it is the best way of purification. not only those simple purificatory rites or some observances. By changing the orientation, by practicing the presence of the divine in each and every moment of your life, you will find all the so-called things which lures me have lost the capacity to lure me. They simply fall off. So that's why it is Pavitram Uttamam. It is the supreme purifier. And Pratyaksha Avagamam. Then the next word, Pratyaksha Avagamam. That, as we were saying, its result is something which I can experience here and now. That the religion says that if you lead a good life, after death you go to heaven. What's the proof? I do have no proof of it. You have to believe. So here they are saying, no, I am speaking of a changing orientation for which you will get the result just in hand. It's just a cash down payment. So that's what is meant by Pratyaksha Avagamam. This entire chapter will deal with this type of truth. That moment you start leading this life as per the knowledge which will be imparted by me, you will get the result immediately in hand. Pratyaksha Avagamam. And then this word is dharmya is important. As we were saying, that Ranganathan is very nicely saying that the mother, very nicely, I will just say that the mother gets vision every now and then. Goes to some bhajan party. Very nicely Maharaj is telling. Some esoteric spiritual practice can do harm to the society. The mother gets visions every now and then, goes to some bhajan party. Who will look after the baby that is at home? Mother doesn't care. She is in some ecstasy. So that type of religion we are not speaking of here, dharma. You will be totally involved with your life, whatever you are doing, fully involved. But at the same time, this life won't, it's just like the lotus leaf. That's the scripture gives that example. A lotus leaf is always in water, is immersed in water, but the water cannot touch it. It just simply falls off. You try to pour water on the leaf of the lotus, you will find this, it just forms droplets and pours off. Nothing can drench the lotus leaf. It lives in water, but it's never drenched by water. So that's the thing which is speaking of. That Abhyudaya and Nisrayasa. Your spiritual upliftment is not at the cost of the welfare of the society. You take care of the society. That's the dharma. Dharma is punya. What is punya? Paropakara punyaya papaya parapiranam. That whenever your acts is helping to maintain the integrity of the society, that is dharma. That is religion. Basic religion. So I am not speaking to you of some truth which is at the cost of the so-called dharma, the integrity of the society. No. That you need not have to simply renounce the way of life and resort to some other way of life so that you can, always enjoy the bliss of your contemplation. Staying in the life. Whatever you are doing, your profession, your state of life, be in it. And still this knowledge will give you that some realization which is Karatala Amlagavat. Just like a fruit, as palpable as a fruit in your hand. So that's why it's meant by dharma. And next the question comes, is it difficult? So he's saying, no, it is sukham. That you did not have to go to some society, pay some fees, and there is a package of particular way of breathing, doing some particular asanas, and getting a little exaltation for some time. For that. And then again, these societies are always very successful. When I was in Sydney, I saw that there was some fair in where there were some stalls. It was a fair for this wellness, the wellness camps. So there were some stalls mentioned that you can experience samadhi in hours. Samadhi in hours. So I asked the one who was taking me around, is it really possible? Well, yes, possible. You ask anyone who's coming out of the camp, no one says that it is useless. They all say it's really something palpably visible. And then I say, is it so? Then he said, the reason is there. See, you are paying $400, you entered the camp. If coming out of the camp you say, I have experienced nothing, all will say you are full. So that's why you have to experience something. So all experience something. So that is the thing which happens with all these packages. So here God is saying the truth is as free, just like the air we breathe, just like the water we drink, just the food. We take them for granted, without which life is not possible. God, out of compassion in all the religions, has given some spiritual truth, which is just like the air, like the water. We don't have the faith. We don't resort to that. Once you adopt, it is susukham. It doesn't need any package. So this water, for water, it is freely available. But yes, you have to buy the cold drinks, Coca-Cola. When it has been poisoned by something else, then you have to go and purchase. You need the package. But God's thing, which is necessary for life, that is free. Susukham, it's easily available. And pratyakshavagaman. It's like that we were saying, it can be experienced here and now. Because it's the knowledge which speaks of something of our inner self, the self of all. It is something here and now. Through practice, you experience it now and then. What is the practice? We will go through it. But in short, we can say, to feel the presence of the divine in each and every moment of our life, that we say that whatever I am doing, that in the morning I wake up, I have a small altar in my own house, in the corner of my house, and I feel I am spiritual as long as I am there. I have some particular modes of worship. I show some incense, I sit down, I meditate, maybe offer some flowers, feel quite peaceful. The moment I come out, change my dress, ready for going to the office, I feel now the rest of the day is secular. This was spiritual, this is secular. So there's a watertight compartment between these two. But in this entire chapter, Bhagavan will start with that idea. It is I who has become the universe, permeating the entire universe. So throughout the day, whatever you are doing, if you do it with that awareness that you are actually interacting with the divine, with God and God alone. It is He who has manifested in all these forms. And that itself will bring a tremendous transformation. How the transformation? Mother loves the child. She feels she loves the child. And when the child doesn't behave as expected by the mother, she feels bad. Why that suffering comes? Because she feels she loves the child. If she have realized that the love is inherent in her heart, it is not she who have to will to love. God has implanted that love in her heart. She is just a channel. It is the God who is taking care of the creation through the motherly love. If the mother knew that, then the question of expectation won't be there. I, as per being an instrument of the divine, am acting as per the will of the divine, and there I resign myself to the divine. I say, "O Lord, you are working through me. The results of the actions are yours. I am just a pen in the hand of the author. The author is writing. The pen cannot claim that I have written so many books. The author is writing. I am just a pen in the hand." So the question of expectation doesn't come. There it falls off. So this is the basic orientation in which we will be going through in the remaining verses of this chapter. So this orientation, the moment it comes, it is pratyaksha immediately on this down, this cash down payment you get. You will find in life, we saw that when a small child is asked to offer something to someone who is in need, the child immediately feels a sense of happiness within. There's a joy in giving. That's how we are built, because there the ego, when you are giving something, the ego is getting, is diluted. The moment the ego is diluted, you are relating to some much larger reality. As in the words of Sri Ramakrishna, there's only one reality, like the ocean. Our ego is like a pot. I immerse the pot in the ocean. Some of the ocean water enters into the pot, and now I say this is the pot water. The body of the pot has demarcated this water which is inside the pot, which was actually one with the ocean water, from the ocean water. Now the waves of the ocean no more disturbs the water in the pot. Why? This ego, the pot is there. If the pot, you remove it again it becomes one. So in our life we will find whenever we give, we find. That's why I was reading that there are so many these Hollywood stars. They earn like anything. And now as they are in their 80s, in their 90s, they're living a very modest, simple life. And all their wealth they're using in charity. What motivates them, if not joy? There must be some joy. Otherwise, why you are giving? There is, whether we know it or not, there is a joy in giving. As long as we are saying we don't feel it, but the moment we do, and I still remember when I was in residential school, for the celebrations, for all our celebrations, we used to ask the students, we used to make a duty list that today about 40,000 people will be coming to distribute the food. Is a huge task. You also have to come and join. First, they all will try to just avoid it, because it needs a lot of effort. This lot of exertion is there. But we used to insist, no, it is not something just your choice. It is mandatory. You have to do it. And a very interesting thing, we used to make the schedule in such a way that the students will be serving for, say, 1 hour. It was actually not needed. We had sufficient volunteers. The volunteers can take care. But to give the students this taste of serving, we used to give. And we used to insist you have to do. And every time we used to find, every year we'll find that they were supposed to now, hand over their duties to the volunteers. They were just waiting. They start, the students, and then the volunteers are waiting. After 1 hour you leave, we will start. And we will find at the beginning they were avoiding, and now after 1 hour, they're not willing it giving to the volunteers. They continue. They say, no, we will give. They found the joy in 1 hour. Within that, in giving, there is such an happiness. But because of that asua, that we have that disbelief, we never even try. Once you try, you get that happiness. And if you can do it with the sense, actually it is the divine. It is not that I am helping someone. God has become that the one who is accepting. The giver, that's why Swami used to say, the giver should kneel down. And the one who is accepting the gift, he should stand in the pedestal and accept, because he is the God. It is I who am offering. I am not helping anyone. God has given me the opportunity to serve the humankind. It is the beggar, God, who is coming in the form of beggar. God is coming in the form of uneducated. God is coming in the form of all the, the ones who are afflicted. And why he is coming in that form? So that I get the scope, the opportunity to serve him and get free, to be spiritually evolved. So that's the basic thing. For this, there is no need for any package. It's a change of orientation. And the fulfillment in life becomes something permanent. That becomes your way of life. And that gradually takes you to the highest spiritual realization. Such a simple thing, we don't believe. That's why that anasuya word was there. As you have this perfect faith on me, I am saying it to you. So this is the basic idea with which this chapter is starting. As we said, Bhagavad Gita starts with that finding out the self within through contemplation. It's just a matter of purification. That first you purify yourself by knowing that you are the self. You are not the body-mind complex. You get its sense of detachment. Then with the idea you are the self, try to relate it with God. As in the Bible, very nicely Jesus says, worship the Spirit by the Spirit. So first you should know that you are the Spirit. And then only you can worship the Spirit by the Spirit. Paramatma, to worship the Paramatma, the soul of your soul, with your soul. Not with this body-mind complex. The moment we have the idea that I am this body-mind complex, our worship becomes selfish. I am having some health issues, I want to be cured. For that I pray to God. I don't have money, I need money. So here God is the means, world is the end. That is sheer materialism, that is not worship. That's why first I have to be convinced of the idea and the Spirit. And then only I can worship the Spirit. Worshipping the Spirit by the Spirit. That's what in Bhagavad Gita you will find. First you find out your own self, and that you relate to the divine for this is the larger truth, and be fulfilled. So with this idea, the theme, the chapter will proceed. This was an introduction. So we will continue with the succeeding verses again in the next class. So with this, we stop our discussion today. Thank you all. Namaskar.